It's international break and it's time to talk about every football fan's favourite topic, transfers for the summer transfer window. Now, we have got a few months until the summer transfer window does open, but you know me, if you're a fan of the channel, that I do like to be a bit optimistic and like to look into players that will be brilliant for the summer transfer window. Now, I'm not picking 5, I'm only picking 3 in this episode, and I'm going to talk about 3 players, you've maybe seen them on the thumbnail, about 3 players that will be perfect for Ruben Amorim's system to go on and make us a much better team. Those players are Jonathan David, Jeremy Frimpong, and Camavinga. Now, all these players are well known and have a huge reputation when it comes to European football, so individually I'm going to talk about their traits, their possibilities, and how they're going to fit into Ruben Amorim's system if these transfers became possible and if United actually went on to poach him and try and sign him for the club. So first of all, before we get into today's video, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new. I've done a lot of detail work behind the scenes. I'm going to read out on the laptop about their stats and everything as well. So make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and comment down below on what signings you would like to see at Manchester United. Now, the reason why I've chose those 3 players is that, for me, United's 3 key positions that United need to sign in the summer are definitely a striker, a right wing-back, and a midfielder. So you could argue what type of midfielder, whether it's an attacking player like in a 10 position, whether it's one of the 6s, or whether it's a standard box-to-box midfielder. For me, it's none of them for the midfielder position. This is why I'm talking about Camavinga. It's a natural left footer in that midfielder and actually creating more balance, because especially up front, we really lack, apart from Amad Diallo, he's our only left-footed attacking midfielder almost. I'm not really going to include Patrick Dorgu because he's more of a versatile wing-back who can play in that 10 position, but when Amad Diallo's back from injury, Patrick Dorgu will no doubt be starting on that left wing spot. He's our starting left wing back. Maybe Diego Leon when he joins Manchester United as well. He's also a player we've got to be looking forward to, what he will bring to the club as well when he joins in the summer. But we're here to talk about certain players as well. So first of all, I've already mentioned Camavinga, so we might as well talk about him. I mean, Camavinga's now been at Real Madrid for quite a few years, and I mean, let's be honest, Real Madrid are building the next Galacticos. They are an incredible team. And for me, Camavinga, it's been well reported that he wants to leave the club this summer because he feels like he can't get in for the likes of Jude Bellingham and Valverde as well. And I get it. Camavinga is a very exciting player. It's still relatively young. He's only 22 years of age. But this guy has been on the market now for about 4 years when it comes to being one of Europe's best midfielder prospects. Now, Real Madrid have set their price of 70 million euros, which for a player of Camavinga's achievements and traits, I think it's fair. I don't think it's overpriced. I think it's a very fair price. And the reason why I'd like to sign him is that, one, he would fit the age category that Ineos are looking for. He's that young midfielder who would definitely improve the team. I mean, he's played for such a successful Real Madrid side, has that experience, that winning mentality as well. And I feel like that with a partnership alongside Ugarte or maybe Bruno Fernandes, if Bruno Fernandes does continue playing in this deeper role, I think Camavinga will be a very good player who has also been seen playing as a 6 for Real Madrid. You can also play as that box-to-box 8. He's also been seen playing as a left-back as well in a back-4 system. So even, let's say, horror of horror, Patrick Dorgu gets an injury or a suspension next season and we do go and sign someone like Camavinga, we've got a player there who can run up and down the wing, is very relentless and very good in pressing matters as well. He can definitely improve us from that left spot as well, so he can play on them wider areas in that 3-4-3 formation that Ruben Amorim likes to play. But Camavinga, I'm not really going to bore you with every single minor detail I've wrote down about him, but I think he would be a perfect midfield option for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim's system. So second of all, Jonathan David. Now, David, for me, has been one of them players that has been criminally underrated throughout Europe, probably for the last 2 or 3 seasons now. And with the likes of Jonathan David, this is where he's a more possibility signing than Camavinga. Camavinga's like the dream signing. And, you know, if you want to include the likes of Victor Gyökeres as well. He's a player that obviously amazing star player, available for 65 to 70 million euros as well. But I'm trying to keep it as well as realistic as possible, because United have been linked with Camavinga for about 2 seasons now. And Jonathan David is also a player United have been linked with quite a few sides, and then quite a lot of Premier League sides have been linked with Jonathan David. Now, Jonathan David, if you don't know about him, I'll read you some information about him now. Jonathan David is 25 years old. He's a Canadian international. He's played a total of 5 seasons for Lille. He's seen out his contract. Now, this is where it's exciting, because he is available as a free transfer this summer. It's already been reported by quite a few French outlets that he's not going to renew with Lille this season and is looking for that next big money move. And at 25 years old, he will be looking for a big club, and that's why Manchester United have been linked with him. 25 years old as well, by the way. For a player of his abilities, he will be seen as a player that's probably the most in-demand striker for the available price tag of 0. It'll probably be one of the most exciting transfers of the summer that's not going to require a fee. And what I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll carry on reading his information first. But with Lille this season, he's had a brilliant season. His best of numbers. He's scored a total of 23 goals and got 10 assists in just 41 appearances. Has a market value of 53 million euros, so you know he's no bum. He is very good. And yeah, I just feel like that United could definitely get the bargain of a transfer window, because he is available for nothing in the summer transfer window. And I don't really want to save or big up the likes of Jim Ratcliffe, but when United are probably not going to have a lot of money to spend in the summer, these are the type of signings that we need to be making. You look at the likes of Matthias de Ligt, you look at the likes of Manuel Ugarte, for me, and even Mazraoui as well. Like, I'm over the moon and really excited for all the young talent United are signing and bringing through, like Diogo Leon as well, coming in summer, like I mentioned before. A very exciting prospect who's coming in. But I feel like what United need to do now, especially this season, is to bring out more signings like the likes of de Ligt and Ugarte. These players who are in their mid-20s, ready to take their next step, about to go into their prime, and can completely change the system when it comes to mentality, experience, and quality as well, because relying on so many young kids and then possibly not working out is a massive risk. And the blueprint's there from Manchester United from all them years ago, building a solid foundation with experienced players, and then bringing in the likes of the class of 92, where you get the likes of Beckham, Scholes, Nicky Butt, Gary Neville as well. And they came into a successful and experienced side who would teach them the ways and help them get better as players. So if United can get players like Jonathan David, even like experienced young players like Camavinga as well, these players could definitely change the mentality of and culture almost of this team, and will definitely help the likes of Diego Leon, maybe a Harry Amas, Chidu Obi-Martin as well, and even likes of Aiden Heaven as well, and Lenny Yoro. Like, you've got these players that can definitely make a difference, in my opinion. So for me, it's all about making that next step, and Jonathan David is one of them players. Now, why do I think United should sign him? I mean, like I've said, he's an experienced player, but he's that poacher that United are lacking. He's that player that doesn't care about who's in front of him or what defence is in front of him. He'll get you a goal if he's put in the right positions or if he gets the right service. And I understand the striker position at the moment is a graveyard shift for Manchester United, and has been for quite a few seasons now. Doesn't matter what manager it plays for. United do lack that natural goal scorer, probably since Lukaku or Zlatan Ibrahimovic was our best striker performance. Obviously, Ronaldo did well, but the team wasn't good. So you've got to look at it from where we were kind of somewhat successful. But looking at it with the likes of Jonathan David, is that he's got a proven track record of also scoring in European competitions when it comes to the Champions League and also on the international stage. But what I also like about him is that he reminds me of Alexander Isak when he was at Real Sociedad before Newcastle signed him. Now, you look at what Isak's gone and done. Like, he's just won the Carabao Cup, which is amazing for Newcastle and amazing for their fans. And Jonathan David for me, has the same style almost as Alexander Isak, who's now being talked about going for £100 million plus. He's seen as one of the best strikers in Europe. Alexander Isak wasn't one of them strikers that was a light in the world at the stage at a young age, like the likes of Erling Haaland or Mbappe. And that's what I like about Isak's rise to fame and become such a good player as he's gone on. And that's how I see about Jonathan David as well. I think he's just a brilliant player and United should definitely be all over this deal. But as well, he's quite versatile as well and has been seen playing in that number 10 position. A bit like Matheus Cunha does for Wolves. Can play as that false 9, can play as that natural striker, but also can play as that creative 10. And let's say, for example, Manchester United keep the likes of Xerxes or Rasmus Højlund and they don't get sold or don't go out on loan this summer, especially Rasmus Højlund, then you've definitely got a player who can back up the likes of Højlund, whether they come off the bench or whether they can play as that 10 and allow him to go up front for him. It'd be a great partnership, I think. So, yeah, Jonathan David is definitely a must sign for Manchester United. And as well, what type of striker is he? He's a poacher type striker who definitely is much more successful when it comes to getting in between the defensive lines of the opposition, but he's also very good when it comes to the pace of the ball, very good with his 1-2s, and as well can play over the ball to his feet and can create something out of nothing. And for me, that's one of the best attributes you want from your striker, in my personal opinion. Now, Manchester United may not sign Jonathan David, but I'm thinking with the likes of Mateta, I'm thinking for the likes of Victor Gyökeres and Victor Osimhen as well. I just don't see them as realistic candidates. And with the money issues that Sir Jim Ratcliffe spoke about, I generally think Man United should consider the likes of Jonathan David. Now, that was a bit longer than the likes of Camavinga, but you can definitely tell I did more research on David than I did Camavinga, but I'm not going to bore you with Camavinga because he's more relatively known. And then obviously we've got Jeremy Frimpong, the last player. I mean, right wing back. That's all I need to say. That is, for me, probably one of the most crucial positions we need to sign this summer. Because Diogo Dalot has had an underwhelming season. Mazraoui's been brilliant, but they're not attacking fullbacks. They're very good fullbacks who can go forward, but I think what Ruben Amorim's looking for isn't right backs that can play forward. He's looking for right midfielders that can defend, and that for me is the best way to describe an attacking fullback. A winger that can defend, but Jeremy Frimpong can do that. I mean, he was very, very versatile. He's very, very successful, especially being a key figure in that Bayer Leverkusen victory triumph last season in the Bundesliga. He was one of the standout players, won the Bundesliga part of the team of the season for them. He was mint. He was absolutely mint. And I think he scored something ridiculous, like it was 14 goals or something I think he scored. Let me double check. It was, 14 goals and 10 assists from right wing back. I mean, he's not even just right wing back. He's played as a winger. He's played as a right midfielder. He's played as a right wing back. And he's also played as a right back. Anywhere on that right flank, he can do a job. And especially as a right-sided attacking 10 midfielder as well. Which again is what we need. And he's also an athlete. I mean, the best way I can describe it right now is that Patrick Dorgu came in for what, 28 million pounds, whatever we signed him for. He is available for £34 million, because he has a release clause. And this is what I mean. I'm doing United a job here. I've found 3 key players. Camavinga not so much. But I've found 2 special key players in Jonathan David and Jeremy Frimpong that are available. You could get both them two for, honestly, under £40 million this summer. Because that is just mental with the availability and the contract situations that they've ended up in. And United can definitely prioritise that. And Ruben Amorim, I think, especially if we win the Europa League this season, I'm asking for a lot, but if we've got Champions League football next season, we can definitely convince the likes of Frimpong and Jonathan David to join us next season. I mean, if we haven't got any European football next season, you could be saying which player can we actually go for and which player actually wants to join the project. But Champions League football for me would be massive and a massive achievement for this season, especially with how rough it's been for fans. So, and it's also attracting players like Frimpong, players like Jonathan David, and try to say to him, listen, last season, we got into the Champions League through winning the Europa League. You're with European winners, okay? And I want you to help us stay in the Champions League. You're going to be the one to take us to the next step and consistently keep us in the Champions League. And these players can do it. I generally think so, but I'll talk a bit more about Jeremy Frimpong. I mean, first of all, he's absolutely rapid. I mean, I think it's 35.96 kilometers per hour. I mean, that is ridiculous. That's like 22, 23 miles an hour. He's rapid. He's absolutely rapid. And you know what as well, which is not the greatest selling point of him. He did play for Man City, and he was a huge part of their academy in the under-23s, under-21s, and under-18s. So he's got that experience playing in England, which I think's definitely a selling point for me. It's obviously just a shame what team he played for. And also, like I've said, that right wing back spot, he'd be perfect for Amorim. He knows how to defend. He knows how to attack. He's rapid, so he's brilliant in transition as well. Where Diogo Dalot and Mazraoui for me fail is that when United are on a counter attack and the ball's in the midfield, you've still got Dalot and Mazraoui pushing up and behind the halfway line. Where Dorgu, you can see against Real Sociedad in his European games how far forward he gets and how brilliant he is. That's what Jeremy Frimpong will bring on that right side. So you've got two very good attacking outlets on them wider positions, and then you can utilise your Garnachos, your Bruno Fernandezes, your Amad Diallos to bring other players into space, but then they've got players to play on the wider areas who can also whip crosses into the box very, very successfully. And that's what, for me, is lacking this Ruben Amorim system, and that'll be another piece of the cake that will make Ruben Amorim more successful at Manchester United. And he's already doing really well, obviously, where it's a bit better in recent times, and obviously beating Leicester as well 3-0 recently and going next stage into Europa League. We're looking like we're turning a corner a little bit, but I'm not getting ahead of myself because this season has been absolutely tragic. But final one as well, just a bit of a positive as well, is that he's a Dutch international who's played a lot with Matthijs de Ligt. I mean, Matthijs de Ligt for me is probably our sign of the season. He's absolutely a mint. I mean, Mazraoui, you could argue for the price tag and the consistency he's brought. But when it comes to actual pure quality, talent, and what he brings to the team, I think United would be a complete different team without Matthijs de Ligt. And Harry Maguire was brilliant when he was in that run before he got injured. But I think Harry Maguire not being in the team is what allowed de Ligt to unlock and be this much better version of him that we've seen. So having a player that has got some chemistry with him, and de Ligt playing on that right-hand side as the centre-back, you know, that could be crucial for Manchester United, especially when we're trying to create a system and a team that it's sort of a unique formation and a unique system almost. So, yeah, I think for me that them three players, Camavinga, Jonathan David and Frimpong would all be massive, massive additions to Manchester United. Now, I understand they're not the most dazzling players that United should be signing, but especially after Manchester United losing out to Quanda as well, who's gone to Chelsea. I mean, I think Frimpong is a much better decision to choose than the likes of Quanda. I mean, Quanda's a brilliant upcoming winger or wing back. I mean, Ruben Amorim wanted him, but unfortunately didn't. And yeah, I just feel like someone like Frimpong would definitely be brilliant on that right wing side. I'm very fond of Frimpong, if you can't tell. So I would definitely love to see him at United. But yeah, a quick one for people who stayed till the end of the video. It did cut out due to video, audio, whatever. So recording this on my phone. But honestly, I appreciate you all so much. Please leave a like on the video if you made it straight to the end of the video. Subscribe if you are new and comment down below your dream signings for Manchester United this summer. Anyway, thank you for watching. Love you as always, and I'll see you in the next one.